Welcome, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. I'm your host, Shea, and you're here listening to the WBTVN Expert Spotlight Show. Our guest today, our expert today is Ashanti Johnson, and she owns a gym in Chicago, and the gym is called 360 Mind, Body, and Spirit. Ashanti, thank you so much for coming on today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Shea.
Yeah, so give me a little background. You're in Chicago. You've got the studio. You used to be out in LA. All your family's out here. I did the opposite and moved from Chicago out here because all my family's out here. So tell me a little bit about, what got you to build this gym and put it together and all the great things that you're doing.
Oh, boy. I'm just the average American. Trying to lose weight, trying to use all the tips and the tools and the tricks to try to get there. I grew up in Los Angeles, California, like you mentioned, born and raised with two parents. They were avid fitness people. They worked out every single day, just about, whether it be in the morning or night. And so I grew up with a ton of knowledge about not only calorie counting and what are the best foods and, nutritional wise, but also a great amount of information about herbs and supplements and all kinds of routines and things like that. But nonetheless, I grew up with a weight problem. And I've always been active. I've always done my due diligence, to really get active and eat right. But I just could not seem to find my formula growing up. And so in my teens and 20s, I really sort of, I had my first gym membership at 14, but I sort of hit rock bottom, so to speak. And I even developed an eating disorder back in the 10th grade. Just for a short amount of time, I actually gained weight.
Doesn't work, does it?
It doesn't work.
It's good for you. It's a no-no.
For all kinds of reasons.
Yeah.
But definitely not a good tactic, but it served me later on in life just to sort of understand the mental side of what it takes when you're along this journey of trying to lose weight. It can be an incredibly anxious journey because what we try to do is control life in so many different ways. But weight loss is one of those things you really have to trust the process. Just like anything with our body, you can't really control how fast your hair grows or how quickly your nails grow or any of those, natural things. So, fast forwarding, right around 22, I fell in love and actually made the move to Chicago. And at that time, I'm in a brand new city and I'm in love, and he loved the way that I looked and felt and everything else. And so I kind of put my fitness journey to the side a little bit. I always worked out, but I just wasn't as extreme as I was in LA. And I started eating, things that were, connected to the culture in Chicago, all the Italian sort of emphasis. And I surprisingly lost 30 pounds. Not trying to.
That's amazing. And the truth of the matter is that your body, you were eating stuff that, and probably portion-wise, it was, you weren't taking in as much as you think that you were. But the body, especially there, has to work a little bit harder because of the snow and the four seasons and, all of that kind of, it's really true, though.
Yeah, I moved here right after Thanksgiving. I drove here with my mom, and I said the same thing. I was like, it's the cold. My body's trying to rebalance the temperature, and I'm burning all these calories. But 30 pounds?
Yeah, I always tell everybody as soon as I had to get dressed, to put the heavy boots on and the heavy coat and the hat and the gloves and everything else, I was working out. So, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
So what happened after that? So you fell in love and everything turned out well and you'd lost this 30 pounds. And then all of a sudden, you were an accountant for a while, and you decided, this is not for me. This isn't really what my dream is. My dream is to really help other people that have gone through some of the same things that you had gone through. And all of a sudden you decide that you're going to build and structure this new gym, which has a real, twist to it that we're going to, talk about, because it really is all about our mind and, getting it under control and realizing that it's the most important thing that we can possibly do, because you and I both know that people that need to lose weight, and it's an epidemic across the country. And for the first time, children are actually dying before their parents. And I just have to put my hand on my heart, because what a waste. I mean, it doesn't need to be that way. It's preventable. And so, totally preventable. And so, the things that you're doing is that we need to connect up here, just like you're saying. The mind is powerful. My second book is written basically on the mental and emotional wisdom, intelligence that it takes to be able to do the things that you know that you should be doing, and stick to it. Not a New Year's resolution. It's over with in 3 weeks, and the next year you keep doing the same thing. It's insanity. We know that. I've said that a number of times with my interviews.
I'm going to take a quote from Janine Roth's book, Women, Food, and God. And she said that, joining a gym, buying a Vitamix blender.
Yeah, got it. Or blender. We want not. It doesn't make any difference what brand it is, but they are good, and I have one of those. So
it's all good. It's all good. But it's like prayer.
Exactly.
It's like you have this ambition and this interest in using it, but at some point you've got to make that leap to actually use it. So long story short, I lost this weight. I couldn't understand it. I started to really do some strong research, and I realized that the only thing that had changed is that I accepted myself. I was in love. He loved the way that I looked. Unfortunately, that gave me a pass to appreciate and accept who I was.
That's so important in life. Let's not skim over that, because I want to tell you, when somebody cares so much about you, who you are, they love you. It's not they love, the body, just that, or just the face or the legs or any other, part of the body, but they love you. And if you can just love yourself in that same way,
yes,
there's just miracles that take place, because we're just fighting against ourselves all the time. And we don't need to be in that relationship. We need to get out of that relationship, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that was where my journey started with starting and opening the gym. It started with me and recognizing that the mental side of fitness is just as important as the physical, because again, I had done all the physical most of my life and I wasn't seeing the results. I would teeter between 3 pounds, gaining them, losing them. And so what I've coined and trademarked actually is called mental fitness.
Mm-hmm.
So what that means is, just like you have to train yourself to run a marathon, just like you have to train to be able to do 100 push-ups or pull-ups or anything that burpees, and build your endurance. You have got to build that mental muscle.
I just want to say, for the audience that's listening, that don't know what burpees are, they've seen them before. When you see people work out, it's basically where you go down and push your legs behind you or your hands on the floor. Then you jump up and in the air, and you keep repeating that pattern. Most athletes and people that work out are very familiar with it. So I didn't want them to think there was some kind of a digestion, kind of thing.
Oh, I know, right? That's what it sounds like.
I'm just teasing. So anyway, okay, but you're right about that. Yes.
Yes. So building that mental muscle.
Mm-hmm.
So how we do that is I have a membership base at the gym that we do a couple of different practices every single month to really ensure that we're all moving forward with themes like trust, connection, appreciation, and we focus on these themes as a group so that we can practice more of that in our lives, so that we can start to lower the amount of anxiety and stress that we experience on a daily basis that provokes that fight or flight sensation that will have your hormones going crazy and keep weight on you. I know that probably a ton of your listeners that are fitness people or just in general probably heard about that whole tiger chasing you scenario, because we all came from cavemen and we have these hormonal secretions that are there to help you. But like when the tiger is chasing you, your heart starts beating fast. You get scared. And that is in terms of trying to make blood flow all over your body and circulate efficiently so that you can get out of there, you know, and have the type of necessary components that will really propel your body to get out of there. But if you're in your warm bed at night, having those same sensations, you know, you have got to really recognize that and then start to kind of work on that. And in addition, going back to that tiger example, when you are in that moment where you're probably needing to get out of there, your body is going to use everything that it has, because it's always trying to heal itself, to get out of there. It's not, if you're in an anxious, fearful, you know, sort of panicky sort of feeling, or any degree of that, it doesn't have to be panic, but it could be something like just anxiety, your body's going to hold on to everything that it has because it doesn't feel safe to be able to let go.
And that's a hard concept for a lot of people to understand, is that we also have a set point. It's like a thermostat, and our bodies are used to being at that set point. And whether you eat less or you eat more or whatever, your body is always going to fight to come back to that set point. And it's not easy to take that set point and bring it down. It's possible, and it's done all the time. And you did that with the 30 pounds that you lost. So you have to reset that, but you have to do it in a manner that the body doesn't get too excited about all of it and think that it's starving to death, because it's going to hold on to absolutely everything, and you're not going to get to where you need to be. And that's really what Shanti is really talking about right now.
Yeah, it's just your thoughts. When you are in that sort of, frustrated, overwhelmed, stressful sort of mind frame, you're sending messages to your body to say, protect me, hold on to what we have, because I might have to get the heck out of here.
Exactly. And your body does those things where it talks back and forth to each other, and it is going to hold on to what it's got, because they think you're starving yourself to death, when in fact you're just trying to cut down a little bit. So you need to give it time to adjust to all of that, just like anything else. So tell me a little bit about, I know that you do like about 80 classes a week, and all of them are different. What kind of classes do you do?
Oh, we do everything. We do cycling, we do bar classes, we do kickboxing, we do boot camps, we do cardio dance, we do functional training, we do personal training.
Yeah.
And we also do meditation.
Right.
So it all sort of circles back to sort of getting your mind at the place where you can be at peace.
Right.
Because you can't do great things coming from a place of being overwhelmed.
Yeah.
When we've ever done anything amazing, it's because we've been in a really great place.
Yeah.
A lot of the audience listening right now has lost 20 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds. And if I ask each and every one, what was different at that time of your life than it's different now? If you're trying to lose weight right now, they'll probably say, I was just so happy. I was the exact story that I just told. And so it's about working your way on the inside so that you can see it on the outside mentally, to really get back to that peaceful place. And the only way that you can do that is to start to practice presence and to be aware of your resistance to life.
Right.
So those are the things that we work on.
Presence, I have to comment on that, because we can't do anything about the past. And many times we just need to, any heaviness that we're holding on to with regrets or wanting to change something, you can do that. You can always go back and visit it, and you can put those bricks down, and then you need to move on forward. And, the future is a mystery. We hope that it's always going to be good, but we know that life is life, and there's things that's going to come in and knock us down a little bit. But, if we've tried hard enough to get to where we are, then we know that we've got the tools that we need to get through whatever is handed to us.
Absolutely.
And so being in the moment is just exactly like we're talking right now. And that is that we are really involved. Nothing else. I'm not thinking about anything else except this interview right now. Mm-hmm. And that's what's important to me, because I want to get your message out there. I want people to know that there are people like you that have struggled like they have. And here you are now with a gym that talks about mind, body, and spirit. And I'll tell you something else that I love is that you take a word that everybody knows. I'll say balance. Mm-hmm. And you bring everybody together a couple times a week or once a week, whatever that is, and you really break that down so that they can understand what is balance in your mind, heart, and soul, because balance is different to everybody. Yeah. But really balance is, and those, those scales are never perfectly balanced. Yeah. So we have to just accept that and realize that balance is something that floats between, certain levels of things, depending upon things that are happening to us, where we are in relationships, our family, our kids, everything, affects that. But the fact that you take a different word that has such great meaning to it and you break it down to the point where people can understand what they're looking for as far as balance is concerned, is a gift that you give to someone to focus on something other than, I can't do it all. Of course you can't do it all. But what you can do is that you can take one little baby step at a time and build on that. That's how buildings are built. That's how houses are built, but you do need a footprint to be able to understand, or a blueprint to be able to understand what your plan is and where it's taking you and how to do it. So
and
love that.
Dreaming again, most of us have stopped dreaming. A lot of the times when I have new clients that come in to see us, they are, they say, I just want to lose some weight. And I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean?
What does it mean? Oh,
pounds,
is it 5 pounds? Is it 50 pounds? What is it? And
then they look so puzzled, as if they've never thought about it. Exactly. And a lot of us haven't. The truth of the matter is,
new concept.
Yeah. We get so used to being where we are. The older we get, we lose confidence in the fact that we could ever go anywhere else. But the truth of the matter is, we all have decades left in our life.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fantastic and fabulous as the rest of our life. Because like you said, the past is over with. You never have to go through that again unless you drag it with you.
Exactly. Leave it behind.
Yes, we live our life for the past. It's weird. But instead of dreaming about where we want to go, and you may have never been that weight before, you may have never been in these circumstances where you want to go before, but if we keep our sights there, we have something pulling us to do it versus us always pushing to do something arduous and hard and have the effort to do all of this and that. So, we work on all these things, and we do that through membership, but then we also hold dramatic weight loss challenges every year. I do 2. One's called the Bikini Challenge. It's 6 months long because our focus is really lifestyle. We don't want to just have you lose 30 pounds in 30 days, but we want to get you bikini ready.
You're not the big loser.
No. Hence,
most of them all put it back on again. I think it was a great show. I know some of the producers, and I love them. They were fantastic. I think it woke up a lot of people. Yes. But it was not sustainable, and that was one of the biggest problems that they ended up having with it, because you put somebody on a farm, because that's what it is, and every day they're working out. Of course they're going to lose weight, but they go home and they have work and they have kids and they have family that they have to take to, so they can't. Yeah, that's all about the mind. And now their focus is different. It's just not 100% on themselves. And so they get back into the habits that they wanted to get out of, and it's not sustainable. But so I'm so glad that you brought that up, because I think that's important.
Yeah, so we focus on permanent weight loss. That's why it's so long. And we have a number of components that keep them accountable all throughout. Because of that, we've seen 50 pounds loss in 3 months, and that is extreme. But because there's an additional 3 months, not only do they work on maintaining it, but they work on how to really, what does that mean, maintaining it? Because I believe that the word plateau just means you're maintaining really well.
Yeah, you're maintaining well. But the other side of that too is that it's just kind of like, working through it and being honest with yourself about how hard are you trying. And more importantly than anything is we all fall off track. Yes. 6 months is a long time. I did I did a program in Chicago for 90 days. And it was hugely successful and endorsed by doctors and the city of Chicago and the Department of Health. But here's the main thing. The main thing is that when you get off track, get back on. Not
Yes.
I'm a failure, I can't do this, I can't. No, 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 no. You made, you made a little mistake right here. And but now you're going to dust yourself off, get back on track again, and you're going to move forward. Don't
Yes.
don't put it all back on again. Don't pity pat. You don't
No,
have time for that.
we're
2
wasting
seconds
time.
of that is all you need. And then you get back on and you make it happen. So
Yes.
I want to share with you that I love all of the things that you're doing. I love you. And I think that you're an inspiration, to the world. I want you to get that message out there, which we'll do on TV, Shanti. And I really want to thank you for coming on our show today here at WBTVN Expert Spotlight Show. And I want to thank our audience. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you again. And until the next time, thanks.
Thank you for having me.